Archangel Michael says, "Do not delay, you must stop and listen closely, for this message is about the very home you are living in, and time is slipping away faster than you realize. There is something happening around you right now that heaven cannot ignore any longer, and the reason this message has come to you today is not by chance, it is by divine urgency. What you are about to read will reach into the deepest corners of your heart, because it carries a truth wrapped in both warning and love. God sees what you do not see, and this message is coming to protect you, restore you, and reposition you before it is too late. Type 555 to receive miracles. Sometimes, we grow so used to our surroundings that we no longer hear the silent cries within our walls. The roof may not leak, the doors may be locked, the furniture may look the same, but what dwells in the spirit of a house goes far beyond anything you can touch or clean. And right now, the place you lay your head each night is carrying a heaviness that heaven is no longer willing to ignore. There is something deeply spiritual happening under the surface. God has been watching it, weighing it, and waiting for you to listen. Now the message cannot wait any longer. Your home should be a place of peace, love, warmth, and the gentle presence of God's grace. It should carry the fragrance of comfort, the sound of joy, and the shelter of divine safety. But the enemy has slowly crept in, not through the front door, but through forgotten pain, unresolved grief, toxic words, and repeated spiritual neglect. God is not angry with you, He is trying to rescue you. This message isn't about blame. It's about breaking chains that have been binding your blessings without your knowledge. And now the heavens are shaking your soul to awaken you. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if you always keep God first. The atmosphere around you is not just made of air and silence. It holds the weight of memories, conversations, energy, emotions, and most of all, spiritual authority. When a home is filled with prayer, it becomes a stronghold of protection. But when a home is left without the covering of God's voice, it becomes open to whatever tries to enter. That is what has happened slowly over time. Not because you didn't care, but because you were tired, discouraged, distracted, or maybe even deeply hurt. But this is the moment God has chosen to reach in and lift you out of what you didn't even know was pulling you down. What if the fastest path to wealth was already inside your mind, waiting to be activated by a powerful sound wave? Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it begins drawing opportunities, success, and financial freedom like never before. Imagine the relief of no more bills and the joy of living your dreams. This is more than an offer, it is a divine turning point. Your destiny is waiting, but only if you choose to move now. Click the link in the video description and comments below to turn on this ancient brain wave today. You've likely felt it already without understanding it fully. The restlessness. The sudden arguments. The feeling of always needing to escape. The dreams that leave you unsettled. The plans that never seem to work out no matter how hard you try. You've noticed the strange delays, the spiritual dryness, the tension you can't always explain. This is not just coincidence. This is spiritual interference. And God is asking you now, not later, not tomorrow, to stop and bring His presence back into your home like never before. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. All God needs is your willingness to believe that He sees something you don't. That there is something spiritual happening right in the place you sleep, cook, work, and cry. That your home needs to be washed not just with water, but with prayer, love, and divine instruction. Heaven is ready to help you restore everything that was stolen. But first, you must hear this cry from God's heart to yours: cleanse the space around you so that He can bless the life within you. It may begin with something simple. Opening a window and letting light flood the room again. Placing your hand on the walls and asking for peace to return. Playing worship music that invites His Spirit to dwell again. Speaking blessings over every room, even the quiet corners that hold old pain. Removing objects that carry wrong attachments. Forgiving the words once spoken that never really left the air. Letting go of items that remind you of trauma, sadness, or people who broke your spirit. And as you do, something will begin to shift in the atmosphere that you cannot deny. Type 1414 to step into divine protection. This is not superstition. This is spiritual sensitivity. Because what you allow to stay in your home shapes what is allowed to grow in your life. If your home is heavy, your mind will be clouded. If your home is filled with old grief, your heart will struggle to dream again. If your home is silent with bitterness, your peace will always be fragile. But if your home becomes a place where God is invited, honored, and lifted up, then blessings will return, joy will settle in, and breakthroughs will find you. God is not just calling you to move the furniture. He's calling you to shift the spiritual climate. To declare once again that your house will not be a playground for the enemy, but a temple of God's promise. Your home may be under attack, but God's hand is over it. And today, that hand is reaching toward you with urgency and love, saying, "Do not delay. You must stop and listen." Because this message isn't about a place, it's about your protection. This is part one of a journey that heaven wants to take with you. Each part will carry a piece of the light God is shining into your home. And as you read and act, you will begin to feel that something is breaking off of you. Because it is. And it begins now. The message continues because what is surrounding your home has been trying to silence the voice of peace in your life. But the truth is this: peace is not gone, it's been buried. It's been pushed beneath the weight of spiritual clutter, emotional wounds, and heavy memories. God is lifting that weight off your shoulders starting today, and your home will no longer be a battlefield. It will become a place of healing. When God says time is running out, it is not to scare you. It is to awaken you before things go too far. Because the longer the spiritual heaviness remains, the deeper its roots grow. And the deeper it settles, the harder it becomes to breathe freely in the space meant to refresh you. But God has seen the silent prayers you've whispered on restless nights. He's felt the weight in your chest when you walk into certain rooms. He knows the tears you never let fall because you didn't want anyone to see how tired your heart had become. This message is God's way of saying, "I heard you. I saw you. And I'm here now to make it right." You may not know how the heaviness began. Maybe it came through people who entered your home with bad intentions. Maybe it was trauma that happened within those walls and left a spiritual stain that hasn't been fully washed. Maybe it was through arguments, broken relationships, or even depression that lingered without being dealt with. None of this makes you unworthy. It makes you human. But God wants to remind you that you don't have to stay stuck in a space that carries the weight of what you've been through. He is holy, and where He dwells, darkness cannot stay. That means if you invite Him in fully, without holding anything back, then anything not planted by His Spirit must leave. That includes every lingering pain, every emotional echo, every hidden presence that's tried to make your home a place of spiritual resistance instead of sacred rest. God is not just visiting your home through this message. He is moving in with power, and His first act will be to restore the atmosphere. Start by speaking out loud. Use your voice because your voice carries power when you speak in faith. Declare that your home belongs to the Lord. Declare that peace must return. Declare that everything that is not of God must leave in Jesus' name. Walk from room to room if you need to. Place your hand on the door frames. Pray softly or boldly, either way, heaven will hear you. The walls may not speak, but they remember everything that's been said. Today is the day you change what they hold. Today, your home begins to be renewed. Type 666 if you believe in God's grace. God is also asking you to pay attention to things that no longer belong there. Sometimes the objects in our homes carry stories or energies that open the wrong doors. A book, a gift from someone who hurt you, something connected to your past that brings back pain instead of healing. These things may seem small, but spiritually, they hold weight. God is not telling you to be afraid of items. He is asking you to discern what still carries life, and what carries lingering sorrow. Be brave enough to let go of what no longer serves the light He is pouring into your home. You might also feel led to clean certain spaces, not just physically but spiritually. That dusty corner you always avoid. That room you haven't prayed in for years. That spot where something painful happened and you haven't had the strength to go back since. Go there with God. Let Him walk with you. Let Him fill that space again with the sound of your praise and the warmth of your hope. It may feel emotional. It may bring up things you forgot. But through it all, He will be right beside you, guiding your steps, drying your tears, and healing what was hidden. What if 7 minutes could rewrite your financial future forever? This hidden frequency, backed by neuroscience, flips the brain's natural wealth switch, unleashing unstoppable prosperity. People are calling it the money magnet sound, and it's already transforming lives. But hesitation means missing out while others move ahead. This is your moment to act. Click the link in the video description and comments below to awaken the wealth inside you today before the chance slips away. Remember, your home is the place where your heart lays down its guard. It is where your children dream, where your family gathers, where your soul is meant to breathe. And if the enemy has placed even a single shadow in that sacred space, God is going to expose it and remove it, not with violence, but with divine love and power. You will feel the change. You will sense the lifting. And soon, even your guests will walk in and say, "It feels peaceful here." This transformation is not just about the present, it will begin to rewrite your future. Because when the home is clean, the blessings can flow. When the home is peaceful, the mind becomes clear. When the home is covered in prayer, the heart becomes strong. And when the home is filled with God's presence, then miracles are not occasional, they are welcomed guests. Let today be the day your home becomes heaven's resting place. Not just a shelter from rain, but a sanctuary of peace. Not just a structure with walls and a roof, but a sacred space of love, renewal, and holy presence. And as you begin to create that space again, God will begin to fill your life with blessings you didn't know were waiting at your door. Heaven moves quietly but powerfully, and right now, the Spirit of God is surrounding your home with an invisible covering that is stronger than any weapon formed against you. Your willingness to listen, to believe, and to act is already loosening what was once tightly bound. There are moments when heaven does not wait for convenience, it moves in urgency. This is one of those moments. That is why God is asking you not to delay. Because something has been planned against you in the spiritual realm, and this divine instruction is being released not to frighten you, but to stop it before it ever touches you. God sees the enemy's plans long before they unfold, and His love for you is so great that He will interrupt your life with a warning wrapped in love, just to protect you from what your eyes cannot yet see. There is a reason why some days feel heavier than others. Why you feel tired before the day has even begun. Why a deep sense of pressure follows you around your own home, even when things appear normal. That heaviness is not just from your circumstances, it is from the atmosphere. The atmosphere around you has been burdened by spiritual residue. By memories that were never healed. By words that were never undone. By silence that went on too long, and by pain that was never released. God is stepping in because He does not want you to carry what is not yours any longer. The home is not just a place to live. It is the foundation of everything you are trying to build. Your dreams begin there. Your prayers rise from there. Your family is protected there. But if the foundation is cracked spiritually, then what you build will constantly feel like it's falling apart. You may not realize it now, but some of the delays, the rejections, the confusion, and even the conflict you've been facing is connected to the spiritual condition of your home. And today, God is saying, enough. It ends now. Not by force, but by surrender. Type 1919 to embrace healing. God is not waiting for you to figure it all out before He moves. He just needs your invitation. When you welcome Him into every room, not just the tidy places, but the broken ones too, He will begin to work miracles where you least expect. That dark hallway you avoid. That bedroom where you cried for months. That closet filled with things from a life you no longer want to revisit. Even the kitchen table where arguments once erupted. He will enter those places not to remind you of your failures, but to flood them with healing, love, and restoration. Your home is also the gate to your future. And if the gate is blocked, nothing new can enter. That is why God is asking you to clear the way. Clean not just the physical space, but the emotional and spiritual layers too. You are making room for joy to return. For peace to dwell. For favor to find you. The home is where blessings take root. And if the soil of the home is hardened by years of sorrow or spiritual warfare, then even the seeds of blessings will struggle to grow. But if the soil is softened by worship, by prayer, by surrender, Then miracles will bloom in places you thought were dead. You might feel overwhelmed. You might think this is too much to deal with all at once. But listen closely, you are not doing this alone. The Spirit of God is already there. The angels are already present, walking the halls, standing in the corners, standing guard at the door. All of heaven is invested in your home being a place of safety and love. This is not just about cleaning a space. This is about reclaiming territory that belongs to God. Your home is not just a house. It is a vessel for purpose. And the enemy has tried long enough to pollute what God has called holy. You don't need to know where to begin. Just begin with the name of Jesus on your lips. That name carries power. That name breaks chains. That name drives out darkness. That name makes even the most burdened rooms feel light again. Whisper it. Speak it. Sing it if you must. Let His name be heard in the walls of your home again. Let His presence flood the silence. Let your home breathe again with the sound of life, of truth, of protection. God is not simply asking you to fix something. He is asking you to surrender everything. Every object, every room, every memory, every attachment. Lay it all down before Him, and He will give it back to you renewed. This message is not about fear, it is about freedom. It is about what God is getting ready to do if you say yes. And your yes will carry more weight than you know. Your obedience to this message will ripple through generations. What you cleanse now will protect your children later. What you restore now will bless the future. What you invite now, God's presence, His peace, His power, will remain long after the storms pass. He is not just saving your home. He is anchoring your destiny. You see, this isn't just about rooms and walls, it's about the atmosphere your spirit has been living in. The home is simply the shell, but your soul is what God is truly trying to heal through this message. He knows how deeply you've tried to hold everything together, how often you've kept silent just to keep peace, how much of yourself you've buried just to keep going. But now, He is asking you to breathe again. Type 222 if you know God is with you. There is something sacred about the place you return to at the end of each day. Your home is where your laughter lives, where your memories are stored, where your private tears fall when no one else is watching. And this is why God is being so tender with you now. He understands the weight you carry, and He knows that the environment you wake up in every morning affects everything: your energy, your faith, your peace, your ability to believe again. That is why He is not just speaking, He is reaching, gently but firmly, to clear out what has been suffocating you. What if 7 minutes of sound could end years of financial struggle and replace it with freedom, prosperity, and peace? This ancient frequency, once locked away in secret government research, is now changing lives everywhere. Imagine bills erased, doors opening, and sudden windfalls flowing into your hands. But every delay is wealth lost forever. Click the link in the video description and comments below to switch on your money wave, and claim abundance today. Some of the things you've been carrying were never yours to hold. Spiritual burdens can enter through unspoken grief, through years of unresolved pain, or through the constant pressure to be strong for others. Those burdens hide in the corners of your home, disguised as normal. but your spirit feels them every time you walk through the door. You've grown used to that feeling of heaviness, that dull sense of restlessness, that quiet frustration that rises for no reason. But now, God is exposing it with love so you can finally be free of it. You may think the solution is to escape, to run, to move, to start over somewhere else. But God is showing you that healing begins where you are. You don't need a new house to build a new atmosphere. You just need to invite Him fully into the one you're already standing in. Because His presence turns any space into holy ground. And when God is welcomed into your home, the space around you begins to breathe differently. The air becomes lighter, the energy shifts, the silence becomes peace instead of pressure. This process might bring emotions to the surface. Memories you tucked away might rise again. You may suddenly remember moments that still sting, voices that still echo, shadows that never fully left. Do not run from them. Invite God into those moments. Let Him walk you through the memory, not to relive the pain, but to replace it with healing. Let Him rewrite the emotional script that's been playing in your atmosphere for far too long. You are not stuck. You are being loosed from what you thought would always follow you. Type Amen if your faith is strong, and share this video with 5 people of faith to welcome blessings and miracles into your life. Start creating new rhythms in your space. Speak blessings aloud each morning. Light a candle not just for beauty, but as a reminder that God's light is in every room. Sing softly while you do ordinary things. Let praise saturate your daily routine. Set boundaries that protect your peace, both spiritually and emotionally. Remove objects, sounds, and influences that no longer carry light. Don't be afraid to make your home fully reflect the person God is shaping you to be. It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be sacred. If there are relationships within your home that have been strained, God is ready to soften what has grown cold. Begin with simple acts of kindness. A gentle word. A sincere prayer. A look of grace instead of anger. You are not doing this alone. Heaven is backing your every effort to restore love. You don't need to fix it all in one day. But if you take one small step, God will take 1,000 more in your favor. He honors effort rooted in love. Type 1515 to receive peace in your soul. There is also a special blessing God wants to release over your home, but it requires a clean space to land. He is preparing to send a wave of clarity, creativity, peace, and provision into your life, and your home is the landing place. That's why He's asking you to prepare it. When the environment is right, what you've been waiting for will arrive. It's not delayed because it's denied. It's waiting for the room to be ready. And you, beloved, are making it ready right now with your heart, with your surrender, with your yes. God sees the sacred potential in your home. He sees laughter returning to your hallways. He sees joy echoing through your rooms. He sees a new beginning forming in the very place where your heart once felt the most tired. This is not just restoration, it is transformation. And it is already unfolding as you read these words. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on time for this divine encounter. And your home, your sanctuary, is being marked for renewal. Let the peace of God return. Let His light fill every space. Let your soul find rest again, right where you are. You may not be able to see it with your eyes yet, but your soul already knows the shift that is taking place. This message isn't just changing the atmosphere of the house you live in, it's reawakening the inner sanctuary of your heart. The two are deeply connected. When peace returns to one, it flows into the other, and when God moves in, nothing remains the same. Every part of your home has a memory attached to it, a story, a moment that left a mark on your spirit. Some of those memories still make you smile. Others bring back the ache you've worked so hard to silence. But God is not afraid of your memories. He is not intimidated by the pain or overwhelmed by the regrets. In fact, He is walking through each of those rooms with you right now, touching the places that once felt forgotten and saying, "This is where I'm going to bring beauty again." He is not tearing your story apart. He is weaving grace into every broken thread. There may be rooms that you rarely enter, corners you've left untouched for years, objects you've stored away without thinking. Sometimes what is hidden in the physical space reflects what's been hidden in your soul. And today, God is gently inviting you to open those doors, not to relive the past, but to let Him pour healing into every hidden place. Your home is more than a structure. It's the keeper of your journey. And God wants every part of that journey, even the parts you thought were too messy for Him. This is why He is asking you to make your home a place of worship. Not just by playing soft music or lighting candles, but by filling the space with the sound of your faith. Your voice matters. Your prayers matter. Even the softest whisper carries the weight of heaven when it's spoken in trust. Begin to speak life over your rooms. Declare healing in the kitchen, where meals were once eaten in silence. Declare peace in the hallway, where anger may have echoed. Declare forgiveness in the bedroom, where tears once soaked your pillow. Declare love in the living room, where someone stopped speaking and never returned. Let your home hear the sound of redemption again. It doesn't take perfect words to create change. It just takes truth spoken from a heart that believes. And you, child of God, have the power to shift everything with your faith. You have already endured so much without fully knowing how your surroundings were affecting your strength. But now that your eyes are opening, God will make sure the enemy can no longer operate in secret. What was once hidden is now exposed, and what was once painful is now being healed. Type 1616 if you surrender to God's will. You may even begin to feel a new lightness in the air as you walk around. That is not your imagination. That is the presence of God establishing order where there was once confusion. That is the peace of heaven settling into the places that were once filled with unrest. It is not temporary. It is lasting. Because this time, you are not just cleaning for the sake of appearance, you are preparing a dwelling place for the King of Kings to abide in. When God dwells in a space, that space becomes safe. It becomes sacred. It becomes untouchable by the schemes of darkness. And that is what is being declared over your home right now. Every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've cried, every act of faith you've shown, has invited His power into your space. And now, He is responding by establishing protection that cannot be removed. You do not need to fear the enemy's return. You have opened your door to God, and where He stands, the enemy must flee. As this transformation takes root, don't be surprised if new blessings begin to flow without warning. Provision may come through unexpected sources. Peace may fill your nights without effort. People may walk into your home and feel something they cannot explain, a warmth, a calm, a sense of safety they don't feel anywhere else. That is because your home is now carrying the presence of heaven. It has become a place where souls can breathe, where hearts can rest, where love can grow again. This blessing will not stop at your walls. It will overflow into the lives of those you love. Your family will be touched. Your relationships will be softened. The healing in your home will become a ripple of restoration in your life. Because when peace enters the house, it flows through every part of your being. And what once felt impossible suddenly becomes a miracle in motion. Let this be your new beginning. Let this be the day you remember as the moment when everything started to feel different. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are exactly where God needed you to be to hear this message. And now that you've heard it, everything around you is already being renewed by His mercy and power. It has been appointed, designed, and timed by heaven itself. God has waited for this moment because He wanted you to be ready, not just to receive the message, but to feel it stir something deep within your soul. And now that it has, He will not let your home remain the same. He is clearing out what your heart no longer has the strength to carry. He is placing a covering of peace over every doorway, and He is sealing it with His love. The truth is simple: you were created for abundance, yet a dormant brain signal has been holding you back. Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it pulls wealth into your life like never before. Others who pressed play once are already transformed, living the life they dreamed of. Do not hesitate or let regret steal this chance. Click the link in the video description and comments below to unlock your prosperity now. There are unseen battles that have taken place in your home. Battles you never asked for. Moments when you felt exhausted without reason. Days when everything seemed fine, but something inside you couldn't rest. This is because spiritual warfare does not always show itself with chaos. It often comes with silence, with confusion, with emotional weight that cannot be explained. But God has seen every moment. He has counted every tear, listened to every sigh, and watched you press on even when your soul was overwhelmed. That is why He has stepped in to shift everything. Type 2020 to claim joy and strength. You may have grown used to certain things: tension, fear, a coldness in the atmosphere, dreams that fade before they bloom. You may have accepted delay as normal. You may have stopped expecting change. But heaven has not. Heaven has never stopped expecting beauty to rise from your story. And the home you are in, the very one you sometimes feel stuck in or unsure about, is the exact place God has chosen to begin again. Not because the house is special, but because you are. You carry light even when you feel dim. You carry strength even when your knees tremble. And God has trusted you with this moment because He knows what's inside of you. He knows your heart longs for peace. He knows your spirit is tired of the constant weight. And that's why this message has reached you now, not when things got worse, but just in time. Because God's timing is always mercy, even when it feels like delay. This part of the journey is about protection. God is not only blessing your home, He is fortifying it. That means He is reinforcing it spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Things that once got through will no longer have access. Disruptions that used to come suddenly will now be blocked. Confusion that once clouded your thinking will begin to clear. This is not by your effort, it's by God's authority. And once He seals something, nothing can break it unless you let it in. You will notice certain things beginning to fall off naturally. People who once drained you may slowly distance themselves. Items in your home that once held emotional power over you may suddenly feel like they no longer belong. You may start to feel the need to reorganize, to move things around, to let go of clutter, both physical and spiritual. This is not random. This is the evidence that healing is taking root. What once kept you bound can no longer stay where God has taken over. You may also begin to sense more peace in your sleep, more clarity in your decisions, more ease in your daily life. You might even feel emotions rise unexpectedly, waves of sadness, memories returning, tears without warning. This is not regression. It is release. You are being emptied of the spiritual weight that was never yours to keep. God is making room for light, for freedom, for deep rest. And rest is not weakness, it is restoration. It is God placing His hand on your shoulder and saying, "You don't have to fight for peace anymore. I am giving it to you freely." Speak this truth aloud in your home. This space belongs to God. No darkness, no fear, no spiritual heaviness has permission to remain here. Every room, every wall, every object is now under divine protection. Let peace dwell here. Let healing flow here. Let love live here again. As you speak those words, you are not just saying them for yourself, you are declaring them over your household, your future, your very atmosphere. Let this be your sacred habit now. Not just once, not just when it feels heavy again, but often. Make it your rhythm. Let your home be filled with gentle worship in the background, with words of blessing spoken daily, with laughter that flows from the assurance that you are no longer spiritually oppressed. You are free, and so is your space. Type 111 if you believe miracles are near. This is not just about creating a nice environment. It's about building an altar to the Lord right where you live. Not a physical one, but a spiritual one. A place where God is not just a visitor, but the center. A place where His presence is welcome, and where His peace becomes the new atmosphere you wake up to and fall asleep in. A place where miracles are no longer distant hopes, but daily realities. Everything that once tried to poison your home, be it grief, fear, confusion, or delay, is now losing its grip. Because the King has entered, and where He abides, healing follows. Your home is now a lighthouse in the Spirit. A safe place for your soul to rest. A stronghold of faith, peace, and divine favor. And it all begins with your yes. What was once broken is being rebuilt, not with bricks or cement, but with the presence of God's mercy and the strength of His endless love. You are not just watching a shift, you are standing in the center of it. The transformation is not on its way. It has already begun. There is a reason God chose to speak to you now, in this season, and not before. He waited not because he was distant, but because he was patient. He saw the strength building inside you through every battle. He saw your heart maturing through every trial. And now, because of your endurance, your faith, your longing for him, he is stepping in to do what you cannot do on your own. The home that once felt heavy with invisible burdens will soon feel like sacred ground. The air will shift. The energy will calm. And you will feel peace in your bones again. What used to be loud in your spirit will quiet down. The anxiety that rose in your chest at random hours will ease. The feelings of tension between people under your roof will soften. God is restoring the flow of love where it once struggled to move. The walls of your home will no longer absorb the weight of anger or unspoken pain. They will begin to carry the sound of joy, of music, of soft prayers whispered with hope. That change is not coming from outside, it is being stirred from within you, through the words you've received, through the decisions you're starting to make, through your simple faith to believe that God can truly make all things new. There is something else you must know now. A shift like this may draw resistance from darkness that once found comfort in chaos. Do not be surprised if old habits try to return. If conflict tries to reignite. If discouragement tries to settle back in. But know this, what God has started in your home cannot be undone by a whisper of the enemy. The difference now is that you are aware. You are spiritually awake. You are no longer moving blindly through your space, you are walking with divine awareness, with heaven's help, and with the authority of God's promise on your side. This is why your voice is powerful. Speak against what you do not want to stay. Declare the opposite of what once overwhelmed you. If there was confusion, speak clarity. If there was fear, speak peace. If there was delay, speak acceleration. Your home responds to the spirit you invite. The moment you welcome God in completely, everything else must leave. Not by force, but by spiritual law. Light and darkness cannot stay together. And your house, your walls, your very floor is being filled with light that cannot be hidden anymore. Type Amen to trust God's plan for your life. You may even notice your thoughts becoming clearer. New ideas may begin to rise, creative solutions, unexpected motivation. That is because your environment is no longer working against you. It is aligning with what God is birthing in your life. When peace is present, dreams grow. When healing is present, relationships are mended. When God is present, nothing remains the same. This is not just about feeling better, it's about becoming whole. Allow God to guide you in what else needs to go. It may be emotional clutter, mental habits, unhealthy patterns, or even people who no longer carry the grace to walk with you into this new season. Be gentle with yourself in this process. You don't have to rush it. You don't have to force anything. God's transformation is never hurried. It flows slowly, deeply, thoroughly. What's most important is that you stay open. Stay sensitive to the leading of His Spirit. Stay willing to say yes when He shows you what must change. Your home is becoming an extension of heaven's peace. It is becoming the kind of place where your children, your family, your future self will grow strong in spirit. You are building a refuge. Not just for yourself, but for those who will one day walk through your door needing safety, comfort, and love. You are preparing an atmosphere where healing happens naturally, where God's voice is easier to hear, where heaviness doesn't linger, and where love is the loudest sound in the room. Every second you wait, wealth meant for you slips into someone else's hands. A hidden brain wave, once buried in CIA files, has been proven to awaken unstoppable prosperity. In just 7 minutes, you can unlock the switch inside your mind that draws abundance like a magnet. This is more than an opportunity, it is destiny knocking. Click the link in the video description and comments below to activate your hidden wealth wave right now. Let this be the beginning of a new way of living. Not rushed. Not buried in emotional clutter. Not tolerating what steals your peace. But anchored. Rooted in God's presence. Surrounded by His promises. Safe within His plan. Every day, let your home become more aligned with the atmosphere of heaven. Not perfect, but full of grace. Not flawless, but completely surrendered. The home you once endured is becoming the home you can now flourish in. That is the gift of surrender. That is the result of saying yes to God's message. And now, your home is no longer just a place where you live, it is becoming a place where God moves. What was once stagnant is now moving again. What once felt stuck is starting to shift. You may not hear trumpets, you may not see fireworks, but the quiet transformation happening inside your home is more powerful than any loud miracle. Because what God is building now is not just a moment of relief, it is a foundation that will carry the weight of your future blessings. The home you are living in was never meant to be just walls and windows. It was always meant to be a vessel, a container of God's peace, a sacred place of restoration and rebirth. That's why the enemy tried so hard to turn it into a place of conflict and distraction. Because the enemy knew that if you ever recognized the power of a peaceful home, you would become unstoppable. He knew that if you ever took back the atmosphere, you would begin to see clearly, pray boldly, and dream freely again. That's why this message has come now, because the time for breakthrough is here, and God does not want you to miss it. Type 3030 if you believe Jesus lives in your heart. There is something holy being built in the silence right now. Even as you sit in your room, even as you think of all the spaces in your home that once made you feel tired or alone, the Spirit of God is weaving healing into every corner. You may feel the stillness differently now. You may sense a calmness that wasn't there before. That's not just emotional relief. That's spiritual alignment. God is bringing your surroundings back into order. The same divine order that governs heaven is now being spoken into your home. And as peace settles, your soul will begin to find clarity again. Decisions that once overwhelmed you will now feel lighter. Conversations that once triggered tension will become softer. The confusion that used to cloud your thinking will start to clear. Because when the spiritual atmosphere is healed, the heart begins to hear more clearly. You'll begin to recognize God's voice again in the quiet. You'll begin to trust your steps, not because everything is figured out, but because peace now lives where panic once ruled. There will be days ahead when old memories try to come back. There may be moments when old pain rises up, trying to knock again on the door of your spirit. But this time, you will be stronger. Not because of your own strength, but because you've rebuilt your home on God's presence. You've opened the door to something greater than pain, greater than fear, greater than anything the past tried to leave behind. You've opened the door to healing that lasts. God has seen how long you've waited for this kind of peace. He knows you've tried to push through, to survive, to keep smiling while carrying burdens that were never visible to others. And now He is honoring that perseverance. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. The very reason this message reached you is because God sees you so clearly. He sees your desire for a home that feels like rest instead of responsibility. A home that feels like a sanctuary instead of a storm. And He is giving it to you, right now, piece by piece, layer by layer. Let every day from now on begin with intention. Wake up and thank God for the peace that is still growing. Speak softly to your home. Even in moments of frustration, return quickly to love. Keep the atmosphere clean with prayer, with gratitude, with forgiveness. When heaviness tries to settle again, open the windows and let light in. Speak blessing over your doorways, over your children, over your own heart. Let your home become a place that resists darkness automatically because it's already so filled with God's presence. You may feel emotional in this process. You may cry when you didn't expect to. That's okay. That's part of release. Every tear is washing away what you no longer need. Every quiet moment with God is building something new. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not weak. You're exactly where you're meant to be, right here, listening, surrendering, trusting. And through all of this, never forget, God is not just blessing your home. He is preparing it for greater love, for answered prayers, for divine opportunities, for visitors who will walk in and feel peace they can't explain, for nights where you'll rest so deeply that even your body begins to heal, for mornings when you'll wake up and feel hope again, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is finally aligned with His presence. Type "I believe" if you believe miracles are on the way. Let your home be the soil where blessings grow. Let it be the space where faith gets louder than fear. Let it become the proof that God not only sees you, but lives with you. And in this peace, you will begin to flourish again. You will rise again. You will breathe again. You will love again. Because God has declared your home as a place where His light will dwell, and His word never returns empty. It is the deep, unwavering knowing that God is here, and He's not leaving. This peace will not fade in time. It will not depend on your circumstances. It will not break under pressure. This peace is planted by God Himself, and He will water it with His presence every single day.